something that this probably has not a whole lot to do with Plexus, but it might also have a whole lot to do with Plexus, more so mindset. But I went swimming. I did laps in Scottsdale about 3 days this past week. And 2 of the times that I was doing my laps, it was basically me at the pool. Nobody was there. It was very early. But one of the days that I went, there were a lot of people around the pool, and there were quite a few people in the pool too. And I am not a professional swimmer. I do not have a body like Carrie Underwood. I get insecure sometimes. And I was in the pool and I was swimming and I was starting to feel a little insecure. And I was starting to feel like people are probably watching me. People are probably like looking at my form. People are probably, whatever. And then I stopped myself. I actually told this to Julie's husband, Ed, who is there with us, our sweet man friend that was there. And he was like, this is so awkward for me. And I shared with him this. I said, as I was swimming, thinking all these thoughts, I had to stop myself and I had to remind myself, no one is watching me. No one is paying attention to me. Everybody is doing their own thing, and I am in my head. And because I'm in my head, I could either allow that to derail me and take away from something that's really good for my body, really good for my mind to get out and exercise, or I can allow those red light stories of like, people are probably watching me, people probably think I'm a fool, I'm probably embarrassing myself, like telling myself those things. I could go that route and then stop what I was doing that was really, really good for me. And so I share that because I think that can be applied to every area of our lives. We have to stop worrying about what people think, because more than likely, people aren't thinking anything at all. It is ourselves. So that is something that may be small, maybe little, but it was something that was very impactful for me, kind of empowering for me to just let go of that this weekend while I was around so many people. I am so excited to have everybody here. We have so much fun to talk through. We have so many takeaways to talk through, whether you were with us in Scottsdale and got to be a part of some of the extras, or you were doing the virtual convention, or you hosted a virtual convention at your home. There were so many great takeaways that we got from convention that I just wanted us to spend a few minutes tonight kind of talking through those. If you have a pen and a paper near you, good for you, because I want you to take notes, because there may be things that somebody else heard at convention or at our Scottsdale thing that you didn't even hear that could be really, really huge for you, for your business, for your mind. And so I want everybody to be diligent in taking some notes and learning from these. If we learned anything this week, it was get into training and then start implementing what you're training. And so that's exactly what we're going to do here. But before we get started on sharing some of our takeaways, today is the 28th of the month. So what that means is that all of the subscriptions have gone out. There are probably some credit card declines that you guys might be seeing in your back office. So we want to be diligent business owners in that and reaching out to those people who have had some credit card declines and just making sure that you're taking care of them. Now, if there are people that have credit card declines every single month and they're not responsive to you, I wouldn't worry about that unless you want to just reach out to them and ask them if they'd like to get their account canceled. So that way they're not charged for their annual membership fee. That seems to do the trick for me whenever I have people that ignore me. So you want to be diligent in looking at your credit card declines and reaching out to those people, because you don't want people who are expecting their products to come in and then they fall back in their progress because they didn't realize that their credit card declined. So go take a look at that. If you don't know how to do that, reach out to your nearest working upline and they can help you, or I can help you as well. You want to also go and take a look in your back office at your dashboard, click points and ranks. And then I want you to scroll all the way over to the right. In that column, you're going to see at the very far end, you're going to see team points. What I want you to do is I want you to click team points twice. And what that will do is that's going to filter it or sort it not filter. It's going to sort it from the highest team points to the lowest team points on your team in your back office. So that's a really great way to go and make sure. Let's say that Sarah Jo, she's got, this is obviously hypothetical, let's say that she's got 35 team points waiting for her, but she's not yet gotten commission qualified. It's especially important to be checking that this month now that we're in phase 1 of our new compensation enhancements, because preferred customer PV, that does not push us towards our commission qualification. So you want to go and take a look. And so if Sarah Jo has 35 team points, but she only has 90 PV, then we need to let her know so she's not missing out on getting that commission check. So go take a look at your credit card declines, take a look at your team points, and make sure that those people, especially those people who have team points waiting for them, that's money waiting for them. Make sure that they have 100 PV. If they are close, like I said, as an example with Sarah Jo at 90, you can utilize, I believe like trial packs and sample packs, I believe that you can still get PV on that. So they don't have to go and buy like one huge order. They can buy something a little bit smaller. While you guys have your pen and paper out, before we transition here, I want to give you guys a few dates so that way you guys have them on your calendar. They're on the calendar already, but just want to remind you, this Thursday, which is the 1st of July, Thursday the 1st is our gold and above call, and it's going to be on duplication. And remember, the way that you are qualified to be in that call is that you end this month, June, you have 2 more days with 100 pay points. And so if you have 100 pay points by the end of June, you are qualified to be a part of this gold and above call that's led by Diamond Jordan, Ron Berry, Joanna Miller, and myself. And that's a really fruitful, beautiful call. We get really great feedback from that every month. So strive for that 100 pay point. Now, if you are at a place where that's not going to happen, that is okay. That is totally fine. We are going to record it, but it is also really special to be there in person, to be able to ask questions, to be able to give feedback. So try to make that a goal. If it doesn't happen this month, try to make that a goal for next month. The next one is Monday, is the first Monday of the month. That's July 5th. And I am so excited because our team call guest is going to be the One Plexus nominee, Breanne Coolidge. She is a dear friend and she is brilliant. She is just like you and me. She's a farmer's wife. I'm not a farmer's wife, but she's like you and me. And just the fact that she's like a normal, laid back, just normal person who loves people deeply, is not a saleswoman, but just really cares about helping people. And she's seen success in that. And she's an incredible leader. So I'm so excited. Make sure that you're on that call Monday night, 7:30 Mountain Standard. Promote that to your teammates, even if they're not interested in the business. Her story is amazing. And then I know there's been a lot of talk about this. I don't want people to be overwhelmed, and we can save questions for the end so we don't overwhelm people. But remember that convention 2022, which is crazy to think about because it's a year away, but you get the early bird special if you register now. And if you registered for convention this last week, like if you registered for the virtual viewing, then you automatically get a $15 discount. So it will only be $74 to attend or to be registered for convention next year, which is going to be in Columbus, Ohio. If you have missed this, if you're not in our Gold Diggers thread, or if it's just been blowing up and you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, I want to let you know that when you register, and I will put the link here in the chat in just a moment, when you register for convention, there's a link in there that talks about the different hotels that have our Plexus room rate. It seems like most all of us are trying to get into the Hyatt. And it's in there. There are only 2 hotels that are with the Plexus room rate, so you'll see it's the Hyatt, and you can get it for $189 a night. And what you want to try to do to save money is you want to try to share that room with 3 other people. So there are 2 queens in there, and that's just going to help you with money. Don't worry right now about finalizing roommates. I know it's a year out, but go ahead and just try to book a room. So that way you at least have it. It does not charge you until it gets closer to the date. And remember, we're a year out. So you just want to make sure that you can you've got a room, so that way we're all together. If you need to cancel it, you will get a full refund on the deposit. If a deposit does come out, in the next year, you will get a full refund on that if it's within, or if it's up to 48 hours before the event. So there's really no harm in registering and saving a room. Let's go ahead and try to all get into the Hyatt, so that way we can all be together.
Hey, do you know they offered the virtual option as well? Do you know if we register for in person, will we have access to the virtual breakouts and things like that?
Or I'm sure. I'm sure.
And then if like I haven't decided if my husband's going to go because the time of year it is, should I register him or should I register him virtually, or how should we do that? If he doesn't register, can he go and attend, I guess is the question.
So I know when I first started 4.5 years ago, before pandemic time, I remember Tamara being like, it will sell out. So you want to go ahead and get yourself registered as quickly as possible. So that was 4.5 years ago. Well, we've had 2 years of not being in-person convention. And so I don't know if they're going to sell out. I don't know if there's going to be a cap on there. Now, I do think that if you register him, I do believe that there is a refund. Kara, isn't that right? I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm pretty sure that there is a refund, but it may be up until a certain time. So maybe go ahead and register him, Jamie, even if you're not totally sure, but just double check the fine print to make sure that you can get a refund if you need to cancel him. Better to be safe than sorry.
How long is the discounted rate good for? Do you remember what the cutoff was? After they said it at convention, but I missed it.
I don't remember. Somebody just call my name.
I did. I have had to refund a convention before, so I believe it's sometime in May. You can get a refund on convention.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it a full? Do you remember if it's a full refund, Kanya? Sorry, I don't want to take that up, but
no, I think it might have been like $5 less or something. Kind of something.
Okay.
Just check the fine print.
Sorry, today I saw it in the fine print and you lose $5. And I can't remember if it was March or May. I remember the month started with an M.
Okay, so that's that. Don't be overwhelmed with convention. I was overwhelmed, but then I just sat down for 5 minutes and I registered myself and I got my room. Now I feel good, and I want all of you guys to do that, and then we can figure out where people want to be rooming and all that. We can figure all that stuff out later. Casey, you're amazing. It says May 22nd. Thank you so much. Okay, I want to stop talking. So I want today being the 28th and everything dropping, all subs and all that, we have quite a few people to recognize. And so I want you to shout out and actually shout it out. Don't put it in the chat because I think it's really important for us to hear. I want us to shout out some wins, and I'm going to start with Carrie Compton going Senior Ruby. That is so huge. Can you do a dance for us, Carrie? Yay! Okay, I have more, but I want to stop talking. I want everybody to highlight and recognize your people who have seen some improvement this month.
Well, we have 3 ladies that are all 8 points away from Senior Silver. All 3 of them are. Gina Jameson's one, Rebecca Meyer, and Lauren Farmer. They're all 8 points away, and they all have a plan to make it happen over the next 2 days.
Sarah Jo is 11 points away from gold. Just did an event, we literally just finished an event for one of her level 1s. She's got a plan in place too. So it's going to happen. We're just waiting for it to happen.
Caroline McDonald went gold. Yay, I'm so excited. And Kara re-ranked emerald. And I'm not going to call out Lacey because I know somebody else will, but there's something exciting with Lacey. Julie Oglesby, who is on the call, she's only 7 orders away from Senior Gold. You guys, that is so amazing. Only 7 orders away. Lisa, if she's on here, she re-ranked gold. Yay! And then Joanna Robold, if she's on here, and Jesslyn, they're only 3 orders away from hitting gold. So huge. And we still have 2 days left. And today is the highest points our team has ever been. So awesome job, you guys. Who else? Call out some more people.
I have my first event with one of my level ones. So that's tomorrow. So hopefully she will go silver.
I'm not sure if Allison is on here, but she ranked gold actually like 2 weeks ago already. And I don't think Tammy's on here either, but she went senior silver, which are 2 really big ranks for them. So I celebrated them in our chat, but I don't think they hopped on here. But Crystal and Hope are on, and they re-ranked senior gold again for the 2nd month in a row. So they are killing it. They're doing awesome.
Lacey freaking well.
Liz, I think you're frozen. Janice, you go ahead.
I'm just 4 points away from making silver. I'm really pulling it. I've wined her, dined her, and everything else. So I'm hoping she's got the 3-day trial challenge pack. So I'm pulling for those 4 points.
Okay, anybody else?
I forgot Danielle. Danielle re-ranked gold. Sorry, Danielle. I know she's on here. She was.
I'm on here. Thank you.
Casey,
Go ahead, Julie.
Okay, Casey Cox went senior silver. Yeah, so exciting.
Oh, this is so beautiful. I love it. Is there anybody else? And if you haven't been called out and you have had something beautiful happen, don't feel like you're bragging. We want to recognize you. It's so hard to keep up with everybody because everybody's doing so well. So call yourself out if you've had something huge happen. We'll take like 25 more seconds, maybe less than that.
Did my people get shouted out? Mine didn't work.
Well, you froze. Yes, go ahead now.
Okay, Lacey Wilcox, re-ranked emerald, huge deal. Like so pumped for you. Lindsay Nelson, re-ranked silver. Hope and Crystal, senior silver. Danielle, gold. Shar, blue, and Carly, both blue through re-ranking gold. Heather Winter is on her way to gold, and I can't wait to celebrate her.
So awesome. Okay, we love you, and we are so pumped for what is to come. Now let's dying. Now let's transition into some takeaways from this weekend, because we are seeing growth in many people's businesses, especially now with the phase 1 enhancements. So now I want us to talk through some of the takeaways that we got from convention, whether that was the virtual convention or the Scottsdale convention. For those of you that were not in Scottsdale, we had some really special extras. We had Genevieve come and she spoke to the jewels, and then she also spoke to everybody. There were about 600 people there, and I'm gonna have Kanya actually talk through that. Kanya, I didn't even tell you I'm gonna have you do this, but you mentioned it and you're really awesome. So I'm gonna have Kanya talk through that because Genevieve was amazing. We also had like a diamond Q&A panel. We had we sent all of the people who were here with us in Scottsdale, we said, we want you to go to as many jewels as you can and ask them for a tip. And so in a moment, I want some of you guys to share some of the tips that you heard from the diamonds and jewels alone. And all of us can take those notes, because you always hear like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Go after the people who have blazed a trail and see what they're doing and start implementing. So Kanya, would you mind kind of sharing a little bit about the analogy that the Genevieve shared?
My heart's racing. Okay, so Genevieve gave us essentially follow the recipe analogy. And basically it was, your upline is telling you what to do, So just do that. She's telling you make the brownies with 6 eggs. And what we sometimes want to do is tweak that recipe and make it our own. And so when then we make the brownies and they don't turn out just the way we thought they would because we did egg substitute or egg whites or put 5 eggs and something else. When it's as plain as simple as do the dang things, you get the dang brownies. So don't try to reinvent the wheel. Like Emily said, use the 6 eggs. I was sitting by Kara at one point and somebody mentioned getting on the phone. One of the diamonds mentioned, get them on the phone to sign them up. And I leaned over and I was like, that makes me want to vomit. But I think that's my 6 eggs. I think I'm using 5 and that's going to be my 6th egg. And she said, it's been a game changer for Kara. And she said, that's how she's done her silvers every month. And so that really stuck with me that I just need to do the 6 eggs and get over my dang self and do the things. And so that's what I got from reinventing the wheel. And then the next big thing for me was what Michelle Polar said, and stop asking what's the worst that can happen, but what's the best that can happen? Don't think the worst, because then all those bad things are going through your brain. Go the other direction. So I think, what's the best thing that can happen? Okay, so I get them on the phone and they sign up, and then I can explain products, and then they think of friends that they want to share with, and then they get someone on the phone. Like, that's the path that we should be leading our brains to. And so I really, really love those 2 things in particular. And then I asked probably 8 diamonds a bunch of tips. I won't share all those. I'll let y'all have some stuff.
Well, okay, save that, because I want to hear that. I think everybody wants to hear that in just a minute. But we can sit here and we can hear, okay, do the dang things, do the 6 eggs, like follow the recipe of Granny's famous brownies. Don't mess it up. Don't try to add something different. Just do what is, like we said, has been laid out before you. And so what would you guys say, and you can put it in the comments or you can unmute yourself, what would you guys say that recipe would be for success? Because there are a lot of people here that may not know. There are a lot of people that are like, what is the recipe? I don't know. What would you guys say are the things that are non-negotiable when it comes to running this business?
Emily, I just made a list.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to say it?
Han. Yes, I do.
Okay. I was like, okay, what is that recipe? So someone just typed in your consistent IPA.
Hey, Hannah, can you hear me?
Coachable,
hey, Hannah.
Training yourself. So the growth element on the phone. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. It's really cutting out bad now. That's not just me, right? You guys all hear this? Okay. Hannah, you might want to take your internet off, because I think you had really valuable insight, but we couldn't hear you. You were a robot. Can you try again?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, good.
Okay. So I said consistent IPA, which someone else did, being coachable, training yourself, so the growth element, signing people up on the phone, like Kanya said, 3-way messages, and showing up on your calls and being here.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things that I heard most every jewel say is you have to be consistent. You have to be. And what's going to happen is, as you are more consistent, you're going to become more confident. You're going to have more stories to be able to share with other people. You're going to feel more equipped to know what you're doing, and you're going to ultimately have more fun. But when you get into this yo-yo of inconsistency, some days you do the work, some days you don't, then if you have any experience like I do, there's a state of guilt that you're living in, because you feel guilty and you feel heavy, like you know you need to be doing stuff, but you're choosing not to do stuff, and you just live in this guilt and this paralysis. And so that was what Joanna Miller shared for her one tip to everybody is just do something every day, 5 days a week, do something every day to grow your business. And my tip was to train yourself every day. And I was telling some of the girls in Scottsdale that it was mind blowing to me how many people don't train. And this is not at all a judgment zone at all. But in my mind, like I grew up doing this business by training myself every day with a plexus specific training video that I would see on YouTube, or Tamara would share in her team page, or I would see it shared in somebody else's team page, or my power partners would share it with me. And from the day I started as an ambassador all the way to now, like I am still every day training myself to grow my confidence and to grow my skills. And so just being consistent and doing that training and putting that stuff that you're learning into action is so important. So Hannah, thank you for tying that up with a pretty bow. That was perfect. Kelly, I love what you said. Be authentic, be brave, connect with others, be consistent, and live in the green light story. That is so healthy. That is so, so healthy. Can you, if you're in a place where you can, would you mind kind of sharing what that green light story, like what does that mean?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I'm not techie, so I'm proud of myself for figuring this out. I think for me, and my biggest thing has been the whole MLM thing. And that is where I have stayed with that red light story. But I think it's just really, everyone was asking me, we're at my son's baseball game, how was Arizona? I'm like, it was so good because I was able to connect with quality time with all of you ladies, but also with the company and with the products. And listening to some of these, podcasts and just being with you women, I'm like, I came home last night and I was like so blown away by each one of these women, how gracious everyone is. Nobody is like, everyone is just so loving, and not just to each other, but also to their families, and just really have like a heart for God. And so it's just this real, like nobody's in this for selfish gain, that it is all to genuinely help people. And I think that's a lot of what that green light story is talking about, that sometimes we hold back from posting or connecting with people because we're going of the what ifs. And so to just let those go. And if you are authentically being you in your post and connecting with people, then it's not gamey, it's not fishy. And that you have this opportunity to build relationships and connect with people in ways that we wouldn't if it wasn't for the plexus.
And you have a goal of hitting Ruby when? September? Is that what I heard?
I think I might have said July, but we might have to say August.
So
we'll give
awesome.
September as the final straw.
Well, I love that, because I know that when you came on, you were very hesitant and skeptical about the MLM thing. And I love that here you are now, just like a few feet away from walking into Ruby, and this passion and this joy and this excitement and this purpose has come from doing something that you initially were really, really, hesitant about. I love that so much.
Right. And I'm just going to add to where Genevieve said, she's like, you guys can call it sharing, but at the end of, I think I butchered her name, but at the end of the day, she's like, it's sales. And I had a client back in social work that was like, said to me, he said, nothing in this world is free. I was like, okay, if I have a 12-year-old boy that has that concept of that, and I really think if we think that everything's an exchange of money, and that's okay, and that's just how life goes. But some of the girls we were talking to, that money isn't a bad thing. And if we have money, how can we continue to bless people with it? And so it's just a means to another way to honor and serve God and help people. And so that's a good thing.
Definitely. And something that Genevieve said, and I think it probably stuck with many of us, was what we do matters. She said the work that we do matters, because we might be helping a mom who is praying for a way to stay home with her family, or we might be helping somebody who is having to pull over on the side of the road after work because they're so exhausted, they're about to fall asleep in the car. And she just kept saying, do not feel ashamed of what you're doing. Do not feel ashamed of being a part of network marketing. What we are doing matters. And I don't know, I know Shar is on here. I don't know if she can hear me, but it was really beautiful. Shar, can you hear me? Well, she may not, but we were at our little dance on Saturday night. And she was quiet and I didn't really have a chance to meet her very, very much, but I went up to her right before she was leaving and she hugged me and she said something to the effect of, it had been really incredible to be around so many women who just like were inspiring and empowering one another and supporting one another. And just the way that she was talking about that, it was like, oh yeah, she's on here. It was just so neat to see like people see that and people feel that. And how often are you in a room with 600 women who feel that, who walk away feeling empowered and supported? Like, beautiful, beautiful. I'm sorry, I'm talking way too much. Okay, what are some other takeaways that you guys got, whether it was from some tips that you felt really kind of changed things for you? I would love for more of you guys to speak up.
I walked away just feeling like I can do this. Like I looked at all those diamonds on that stage and it was like, if they can be there, like I can be there. And just like in awe of like so much gratitude for like what this opportunity can bring and what this can do. Like there is no other job in the world where I can like hide in my closet and talk to you guys and be home with my babies and like all of these things and earn an income to do, like who knows what you're going to do with that money, like, and that kingdom impact that can have. And like just like this kept coming back to like, if they can do this, I can do this. Like I want everyone in the world to know that like anyone can do this and there's no reason why you shouldn't be. And Kelly Winter, you just bring tears to my eyes when you talk, because I have known from day one, my dream teamer, that you would rock at this because you love people so well. And that is just so sweet.
To touch on that, Liz, I was sitting on the bus in front of Sunny. Is it Keck? I think is her last name. The diamond Sunny, the redhead, beautiful. That Holly is her twin. And I had no idea she was diamond at all. And I ran into her later on the last night, and I said, "You kind of snuck up on me, and I had no idea you were diamond because you were just talking to me like I was just another one of the girls." And she goes, "When you get to the same level, you'll understand. It wasn't if, it wasn't, it's possible to." She just looked at me and point blank said, "When you get there." So it's just the transferring, that inspiring, the pouring into one another, and the belief this company and these women and men have is unreal.
So for the people that weren't able to be at corporate, what were some of your takeaways, if you had any, from the Diamond Q&A or from some of the jewels that you ran into and asked for tips?
Timmy Yancey had a pretty neat, different tip than the normal what we hear, and I liked it. She said that she spends a lot of her time in relationship building on top of, like, she doesn't just do reach outs and follow-ups. She spends a lot of time relationship building. And what she said was that when you have done the work of building relationships, people are in your funnel way less time. Like if that makes sense, like it's easier for them to, like, you ask them the question, they say yes, they're ready, or they'll come to you or something because you've put that work in of building the relationship. There's like less time that they're in your funnel, that you're following up to them and things like that. And I thought that was neat. I liked that.
I really loved what, I think it was Sally Lewis who's talking about duplication and just that it's not one-dimensional. And I think sometimes we think about duplication as like, okay, I got to get somebody to silver. Like, what are my steps to do that? And she was talking about, you know, even just like signing someone up, the things that you send them and the experience that they have talking to you, like that's, you know, they'll duplicate what you do. And so even, you know, so just like kind of extending my mindset to think about like what duplication is. It's not just I kind of had it in like a little box, and to think about like everything that you do in the relationship that you have with someone is part of that. I thought that was really cool.
I don't remember if it was in the diamond panel or if it was when it was the diamonds that walked up, but they said, don't should on yourself. So don't have guilt. Today's a new day, move forward. Like I should have done this. I should have done that. Don't do that. Just today's a new day. Just do something. And then the other one was engaging in posts. So we all know to engage, but engage with questions that add value, and be genuine in your questions, because getting that social interaction is what you're looking for. That is the relationship building. That was huge. Never thought about that.
I know that I keep talking, but I wanted to share, I shared this with our Jewel thread, but and then Brittany and Shelby, of just being in my room, of some realizations that I was having there. Of, I think that all of us can really, because we are others focused, it is hard to like share with your team, like, hey, I'm really pushing for this. I'm really pushing for this, because you don't want it to be like all about you, and you don't know that. But I guess I've just really noticed that when me personally, like, don't make it known that I have a goal that I'm pushing for, and I don't bring my team in, it actually like it hurts them, because they can't like be a part of something greater. That's right, Kylie. It isolates me, and they can't be a part of something greater to come together to meet their goals. And so like over this past year, we've been Emerald for a whole year now. It's been 1 year today. And just like this whole idea of vision, of like, where is our team going? And honestly, this past year, I've just been like, oh, we're just Emerald. That's just where we're at. And we're doing the things to maintain. And so I just was really challenged of like, this is like having this vision for like where we're going, and how that that inspires your team, that doesn't to work harder to meet their goals. And that doesn't like, it's not a selfish thing to do that. And so that was really, yeah. So Kylie, what she's saying is that Emerald was my goal with Plexus. Like well, not really Emerald. My goal is to stay home with my babies and to pay off my loan. And that made it, that we did that at Emerald. And so like, it's been a really hard thing for me to think about like going Sapphire. I honestly haven't had the desire to, but now I see that my lack of desire to do that has actually like, it's trickled down into my team. And I think that I have some ownership over that. No shaming, no should have, but just like taking ownership over that, and then changing it and doing better, if that makes sense.
I can't remember who it was that shared the John Maxwell quote, where he said, a leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. I was talking with Hannah a few weeks ago, and I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, Han. Maybe just like growing her level 1 base, you know, growing stronger, like a strong team. And I had like all these thoughts, and then I went over to my power partners. Oh, it was Tarl. Thanks, Kylie. And I went to my power partners. I was like, okay, here's the situation. Like, this is what Hannah's asking. This is kind of what I've shared. And, you know, what are your tips? And Jordan was just very like to the point. She said something like, go do the work, go show your team what you're doing, repeat. And so it was just interesting. Like, it doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. That is what a leader does. And just like I shared today in Kara's recognition about how she's signed, or she's helped 4 of her people go silver over the past 4 months. Like, a leader is in the trenches with their team. They're not just sitting there saying, hey, go do this. They're saying, hey, go do this. And they're doing it with them, but they're also showing the way. So whether you are a brand new ambassador or you're a diamond ambassador, that doesn't change. Like, you have a vision. And for Kara, her vision may never be to get to Sapphire, but her vision should always be to continue to help her team get to where they want to be. And sometimes that is going to push the comfort zone. Because I know for me, when we were Emerald, I didn't want Sapphire either, but it was because I was scared because I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think that our team was strong enough at the time. I didn't trust myself and my leadership, and it seemed hard and it didn't seem like something I wanted. And so I was like, we're making $10,000 a month. We're totally fine. We don't need to do anything more. And that halted our team until we moved beyond that and got back into action and started casting that vision. That's what a leader is. So again, no matter if you are a brand new ambassador or you're a double diamond, that is what a leader does. Gets in the trenches, casts the vision, and shows the way, shows what they're doing. Who else? Connie, you said that you had a lot of really great tips from some of the diamonds.
Okay, so I got mindset a lot from diamonds. And so Andrea Estes says, always be growing in mindset. You need to interrupt that thought pattern, which we've heard. And so when they said that, I also followed up with like, what was your most valuable resource in doing so? Just because I know we all have our own books, but we're all in the same circle. So I think we all have the same book processes. But she said the most valuable thing for her was the Life Coach podcast with Brooke Castile. And I had never heard that. One thing she also said was a lot of times we believe what our smaller self thought we were going to be. And so your 5-year-old self can't control your now self. So if there's something that's holding you back and it's mindset, it could also probably be things that you believed from the past, that people told you, you can't do this, you should do this. Why are you doing this? No matter what age it was, you can't let 20-year-old self tell 37-year-old self what to do. It's not controlling you, but we're letting it. And then also, Andrea also said, don't be a crab in a bucket. And I had never heard this analogy, but if you put crabs in a bucket, you don't have to put a lid on it because they're not going to let them get out. So one starts to go out and they're going to pull them down and they just keep trying to get out of the bucket. Don't surround yourself with people who are going to pull you down. You don't want a lid on your bucket and you want to be able to get out of your bucket. So people that are pushing you up out of that bucket to get you out of that bucket, don't be in a bucket full of crabs that are pulling you down. And then also as far as mindset, Datha Whitfield said the best book that she read about mindset was Win the Day, which I think maybe Emily has mentioned, by Mark Batterson with a B as in boy. And I loved what she said. Liz was standing there too. And she was just telling us that when she ranked Emerald so fast, her mind and her rank, or her rank said Emerald, but her mind still was back at like silver and gold. And that's how she was doing it. So she had to do a lot of head work to believe that herself, that she was Emerald. And so she said, you may be stuck. And if you're stuck, it's probably because you don't believe the rank that you're going to be or that you are. And so you've kind of held yourself there. Yeah, Liz was so sweet. Datha just looked at her and said, you can do this. You can do this. And sweet Liz, tears in her eyes, believed it because she can. And then the last thing that I wanted to share, just because it was a resource from Sunny Keck, she just looked at me. She said, do you know Brene Brown? That's all I've got to say. And I said, yes, but what about Brene Brown? And she said her first podcast, Game Changer. It's like her most popular one. She couldn't remember the name of it, but she said, I think it's her first. She only has 2 out. Or she has more now, but her first 2. And then also the books, Daring Greatly, and a leadership book, Dare to Lead. And then Jessica Heffley was hilarious. She patted me on the shoulder. She goes, therapy and post about the business. I said, that's Jessica Heffley right there in a nutshell. So therapy and post about the business. But I also talked to Timmy, and she did say market through relationships. And she was saying that funnel, it's not that they're not in your funnel a long time. They're in your Plexus funnel a short time because you know them and they trust you. So when you say, hey, so I know you have migraines, would you want to try this? They're like, sure, I trust you. I know you. We're besties. And so then they're in your funnel, you ask them the question, they're out your funnel because they've trusted you and you've built those relationships. And that was Ryan Evans, or Ryan Ritz said, get a piece of paper, write down how you're going to feel when you wake up as Diamond. What kind of wife are you going to be? What kind of mom are you going to be? How are you going to approach people when you're Diamond? Where's that money going to go? How are you going to run your team page? What kind of product training you're going to do? Business training, social media as a diamond. You have to do all those things before you're a diamond. Just do the things like you're a diamond. That's your to-do list. And I was like, okay, okay, that's a lot, but you don't have to do them all at the same time. It's one step at a time. And so just don't think when I get diamond, that mentality of when I get diamond, I'll be able to do X, Y, Z. Just start doing them now. Lead your team that way, focus on those things, and grow your mindset and belief in yourself.
Let's do like one or two more. I think these are super, super valuable.
Would it be okay if I, sorry, right, would it be okay if I just share a post on Rising Jewels, and then in the comments we can leave who we talked to and what they told us? Because I took notes in my phone. I mean, would that be helpful to everyone?
Yeah, I think Kara actually was planning to do that tomorrow. She was going to put a post up so everybody could put all their tips. So she may already have that scheduled. You guys can coordinate that. Britt, go ahead.
So I really liked the diamond panel that we had this weekend. I was telling Shelby on the way home that I really liked how out of the 10 diamonds that were up there, there was such a variety of like personalities and leadership styles. And you could just tell that by, you know, the way they talked or like the way they answered their questions. And it was really funny when Sunny answered one question the same, and then Ryan answered it, but totally different ways, but they're both diamonds and they both got there successfully and they both lead their teams well. So I thought that was really neat. But 3 things that really stood out to me over this weekend was I kept hearing, one was commitment, like to your business, to taking the products, to your team. 2 was casting vision for yourself and your team, which Kara kind of talked about that, but just always having an idea of like where you're going, and not necessarily just goal setting like each month, but like really having a vision of where that's going. And then 3 was belief in yourself and being excited. I think it was Allison Bro. Yeah. She said, are you still somebody who people want to join with? Like, are you still excited and passionate about what you're sharing? And it kind of hit me because I was like, I think maybe a little bit I've shrunk back that excitement just because I don't know why, but that just really stuck out to me, those 3 things. And also Allison said that you didn't come this far just to come this far. So like wherever you're at now, like you got here by doing what you're doing and you're not stopping here. Like you just keep going, you know, you have more to learn, you have more to give. And so I thought that was what stood out to me over the weekend.
Okay, anybody else? These are all so beautiful and so valuable.
Okay, I was going to share something real quick. So, and I just ate, so pardon me. So 2 things. One was Sylvia Porter and how she was going constantly back, sorry lights, to, and I'm going to butcher it because I don't have my notes in front of me, but it was like, if you have a vision and you have a dream, do it anyway, and like kept going. And that was really good. So I cried over that one. And then, which we all know I cry anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but that one was really good. And then it was funny because Hannah just hopped on. So, and I told Hannah this to herself, but anyways, I'm going to try and keep it together. So, I loved how she asked like the questions at the end of when someone asks you, what do you do for a living? And I actually did that twice today with a server and someone at the airport. And so I loved her application of like, how do you feel or how do you approach somebody when they say, when they ask you what you do for a living? And so like, that was really helpful on not being shy to like share about Plexus. And so I loved that. But yeah, so that was definitely really helpful. But just knowing that, you know, you just don't know who you're impacting. So you should just share anyways. So that's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to get off.
One thing that really stood out for me was Ryan Evans, when she's just like you get overwhelmed, do it overwhelmed. Keep it simple, you know, do the basics. But I feel like I have a lot of people that get overwhelmed, at least on my team. And I mean, there's days where I'm like, oh gosh, I can't keep up with all this stuff. But just hearing her just say, just do it anyway. Just do it overwhelmed. Just keep going. You know, don't quit. That stood out to me.
Yeah, she said, stop stopping. And I can't remember if Genevieve said this in the Jewel training or if she said this in like our bigger group training, but she was saying that when you stop, you are delaying that gratification. So it's like if you're stopping and starting, there's no consistency, and you're delaying what good could come from that consistent behavior. This is the last thing I'm going to say. And if anybody else has anything they want to close out with, yeah, Kylie, she was funny about that. But if anybody wants to close out, I would love that. But I think there were two quotes that stood out to me the most. The first quote was my favorite, when Adri said, Michaela runs a tight ship. That was like one of my favorite things I heard this entire weekend, that Michaela runs a tight ship. That was awesome. But the second favorite thing that I heard was from Michelle Poehler. And she said, and this just got me, she said, what would you get uncomfortable for? And I've never thought of it in that way. But when you think of Plexus, this is not the comfort zone. Like Lacey was saying, people get overwhelmed. This is uncomfortable. This is unconventional. We're stretching all the things. But when you switch that from this is really uncomfortable to what would I be willing to be uncomfortable for? I have a whole list of things that I would be willing to be uncomfortable for. I have a whole list of people, family members, ministries, desires of my heart that I would be willing to be uncomfortable for. And that changed me hearing that. Anybody have anything else they want to say?
I do. I'm still here. And so I'm going to share a story, and then I got to run and get my kids. When the Jewel training we had, there was a story that was shared that even every time I've talked about it since, I have cried. And I think it like really like just struck me. So she talked about a mom and a son. The son was kind of wayward. He wasn't like living to his potential. He was getting in trouble. And she just said, please do this for me. I want you to graduate from high school, take your SAT so that you have that done. And so he held it together enough and did that. Took his SAT score. The scores came back, and his score was at like a 1500, like astronomically high. And it like shocked everyone around him, like just poured over belief of, wow, you have so much potential. You are gifted. That's incredible. Like he didn't study for it or anything. And he himself started to see like, well, maybe I am worth something. Maybe I do need to do something like that's of value. He went ahead and went into college, and then he graduated and became a successful business owner. And it was 5 years later, he received a letter in the mail on his desk, and it said, we apologize for this mix up, but your score was mixed up with someone else's from the SAT. And he got like a 600. And every time, like, because that completely changed the trajectory of his life. I think there's so much power in all of us to be speaking belief and life over everyone we know, on our teams, in our family, for our kids. And so that really does always strike a chord with me, because I always want to be in that place of bringing people to their fullest potential. And so that just left me thinking, like, are you acting in your fullest potential? I would argue that every single one of us know exactly the thing that's holding us back, exactly the thing that we should be doing to get to the next level. And so we need to stop avoiding it, and we need to just get back into doing that and getting uncomfortable and figuring out how to implement discipline or consistency or boldness and all of that. So that's what I have. I need to go grab my kids. Bye, everyone.
That was a beautiful hand. Okay, well, thank you guys so much. Kara or Jamie will be posting in Katie. Oh, you're cracking me up. Katie's crying in a car full of grown men. Kara or Jamie will post tomorrow where we can all put our tips that we've heard and some of our takeaways, because these are really powerful. I will also upload this video to YouTube. So if you have people that you feel like could benefit from hearing this that weren't able to be on tonight, or if this is something you'd like to re-listen to later, go ahead and do so. But I love you guys. Oh yeah, Kylie wants me to pray. So I'd be happy to do that. And then we can get off after this. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for your grace. Thank you for your hope that we have in you. Thank you that our worth is in you and in no one else. Lord, I thank you so much for these women and now some men that are surrounding us and encouraging us and supporting us and inspiring us to be stronger women, stronger wives, more intentional wives, better moms, better friends, and thinking outside of ourselves, Lord. I pray for you to be honored through this platform, through this ministry, through this business opportunity, Lord. I pray that people who may not know you or have a close relationship with you will seek that, because they see the joy and the passion and the purpose that we have through our relationship with you that you have given us, Lord. I pray that this will be a place where you just shine so bright, Lord. I pray that people will see our hearts and that we will be bold enough to share, to continue to share for those people who are praying for something like this, Lord. I pray protection over our teams, protection over our hearts, protection over our minds, protection over our marriages. I pray over our children, and I just pray that you continue to equip us with wisdom and knowledge, and continue to help us to know how to love and give grace, and to just continue to shine for you through this, Lord. We love you so much. Amen. I love you all very much. We'll see you on Thursday, hopefully. Bye, you guys.